In this section, we will learn what the terms tenant and subtenant mean within the BoomiFlow platform and how to access them. In this section, we will cover how to access your tenant, creating a subtenant, switching between tenant and subtenant via the gravatar icon, creating a new user within a tenant or subtenant, and creating comments about your tenant that users will be able to see. Once you have logged into BoomiFlow, you will have to select your main tenant. The image here is showing that the main tenant is brett-brown-dellboomi.manywho.com. When you create a BoomiFlow account, you are assigned a tenant, which can also be known as your main tenant, where all of your flows, content, and metadata related to your flows is saved. A tenant is also the place where all your flows, types, values, and service integrations are stored and accessed by using the BoomiFlow drawing tool. Subtenants are added or created within your main tenant. A subtenant is a new tenant under the main tenant account. Subtenants do not have visibility into the content, flows, values, or service integrations of the main tenant, and vice versa. You may use different subtenants for different divisions of your company. For example, separate subtenants for HR and accounting. Subtenants can also help to organize your projects. For example, you can logically separate out development environments into deployment, staging, and production. Tenants and subtenants are similar in many ways. You can log into your main tenant or subtenants using the same password. The naming convention is shown here for a main tenant and a subtenant. For example, a subtenant could be created for BoomiFlow Essentials, which may appear like this. The naming convention for main tenants and subtenants does not allow for any spaces between characters and only allows for letters and numbers to be used for naming. The tenant icon is located on the left-hand side of the screen and can be selected from the Home tab left-hand navigation toolbar. This allows you to access your main tenant and the various subtenants associated with that main tenant. When accessing the main tenant screen shown in this image, click on the green plus sign New Subtenant button located on the right-hand side of the screen to create a new subtenant within your main tenant. In this image, the name BoomiFlow Essentials is going to be used for creating a subtenant. You also notice that there is a comment below the text box that shows you the naming convention for subtenants again. Just remember that your new subtenant name cannot have any spaces between the numbers and letters you use. Then you will click on the blue Create button at the bottom of the screen to create your new subtenant. Now that the new subtenant has been created, you will see this new subtenant listed under the Subtenants section within the main tenant. Click on the gravatar icon in the upper right-hand corner of the platform to see which tenant you are in within the platform. Clicking on the gravatar icon will open a window that will indicate the name of the tenant or subtenant. Here we can see that we are in our main tenant because we see the name of the main tenant in this example is brett-brown-dellboomi.manywho.com. You should see a similar tenant name with your name and company name being used for this main tenant naming convention, taken from when you created your BoomiFlow account. Below your main tenant name, you will also see your tenant ID shown, which is a universally unique identifier, or UUID, that is assigned to each tenant. Each subtenant created within a main tenant will also receive a UUID. Click on the blue Change Tenant button then to open the Select a Tenant window. Once you click on the Change Tenant button, you will then see your subtenant and main tenant shown in the Select a Tenant window. The highlighted main tenant is the tenant you are currently in. You will then select your subtenant that you created for BoomiFlow Essentials by clicking on the BoomiFlow Essentials subtenant. The search bar shown in this Select a Tenant window is able to be used for searching for a tenant by the tenant's name or the tenant ID that is assigned to the tenant. Within your subtenant, you have the ability to add a new user, just like you have the ability to do so within your main tenant. A recommendation when adding new users is to only add new users to subtenants so that you and colleagues or coworkers can collaborate on the building of flows only within a specific environment, such as this BoomiFlow Essentials subtenant that you will create. You'll also notice that subtenants cannot be created within a subtenant, as there is no plus new subtenant button shown anymore. This is also another way to reassure yourself that you are in your subtenant. To add a new user, click on the green plus new user button in the right-hand corner of the screen. To add a new user or new flow builder, All you need to do is enter the first and last name and email of the user you would like to add to your subtenant. They will then in turn have access to this subtenant when they log into their BoomiFlow account using the email that you have provided, which should be their username for accessing their own BoomiFlow account. Then, click on the Register Builder button to finalize the process of granting the new user access to this subtenant as a new flow builder. The new flow builder or user information will then be shown below your own user information within the subtenant. The comment section of the subtenant can be used to inform flow builders of what types of projects will be built in this subtenant and any other important information that needs to be shared about the subtenant.